Hi guys, welcome to Writing Today. So today we are working on writing a strong resolution for our narrative. So a strong resolution, that means a strong ending. And my narrative is that story that I've been writing, okay? So I need to create a strong ending for my story. Some of you have already done this, and that's the case. I still want you to work on your ending today. I want you to reread it and make sure that one, you tied up all your loose ends so that means all the problems are solved, and two, that it makes sense for your writing piece, okay? So those are in the I did my job if. So if I'm not sure, I need to look here. If you get done, your ending looks good, and it hasn't been 20 minutes yet, well, then you need to start a different story. You still need to be writing for those 20 minutes, whether it's on your story or on a different story, okay? After about 10 minutes of writing, you're going to go to your teacher for feedback, okay? So I'm going to begin. Now, I did some writing off camera for you guys. I did some writing just so that way I could get where I needed to be so I could write my ending to show you how to do it properly, okay? So I used my plot here to guide my writing, and I'm at the point where she loses her leg, okay? And then eventually, so I need to get her dad to tell her, or her to tell her dad who she is, and them to become a pirate family. Okay, so we've been having you reread, and rereading is this wonderful thing that you should do whenever you're writing. Now, I have a pretty long piece of writing, right? It's not short at all. And because of that, hold on, I'm trying to copy and paste. Because of that, I need to make sure that, okay, because of that, I'm not going to read, sorry. I'm trying to think and talk at the same time, and it's not going well. Because of that, I need to reread, but for your sake, I'm not gonna reread the whole thing because otherwise you're just gonna listen to me reading or writing, and that's not cool. So make sure you reread your whole piece, and that counts for part of your 20 minutes. So make sure you're doing that, okay? But I'm gonna start reading probably here and down to where I'm at just for your sake, okay? They like to hang out at the dock. No telling who will be there though. They are constantly on the move. Stephanie said thanks and quickly went to the dock. Finally, she had a lead. Even if it was something as silly as pirates, she walked down the dock looking for anyone who could help her. There was no one in sight. She looked down further and saw a much older, dirtier, grosser dock. There sat someone who resembled a pirate. Stephanie thought she was dreaming. Sure enough, the pirate told her all about her dad. Apparently, he was well known in the pirate world. Stephanie was so close to finding out everything. She asked the man to help her look like a pirate and smuggle her on board her dad's ship. He agreed, as long as she gave him all of her money. She decided it was worth it and gave it all to him. Stephanie quickly learned being a pirate was very hard. She worked day and night, all while trying to get closer to her dad. She had yet to talk to him, but always kept a close eye on whatever he was doing. One day, they ran into a storm. The sea caused everything on the deck to move around. She was trying to help steer the ship when bam, a big container crushed Stephanie's leg. She cried out. Her dad came rushing, even though he didn't know he was her dad. So I'm going to finish writing this little bit. It turned out Stephanie's leg could not be saved. She would have to have a peg leg. That was fine. Fine though, because now she was a real pirate. At least That's what her dad said. So if I left the story here, you'd be like, wow, I guess she's friends with her dad now. So that's not a good ending. I'm still getting ready for my ending. And so when I am thinking about the ending in my story, I need to make sure that I'm tying up all the loose ends. Okay. There's still a question of, does she get to know her dad? All he did was help her. Does she really know him? And then some other things like, what about her mom? Right? So I need to tie up all these loose ends and make sure that everything makes sense. She needed lots of help for a while. Her dad decided to help her. One day, he said, you know, you remind me a lot of my daughter. Stephanie froze for a second. He know? No, she thought. She narrowed her eyes at him. What? Oops. What? He Stephanie decided to just be honest. She had gotten, so now I'm going to tell them about how she had gotten to know her dad. So I'm just letting my reader know. So I'm starting to wrap up things, okay? Because I can't just leave it off with, now they're family. Because if I left it off with the family thing, they'd be like, but how? They were barely talking. Gotten to know him a lot since the well, it's funny you say that because I am your daughter. Her dad looked shocked. So I'm going to add in this next part, explaining why her dad wasn't there to begin with. Because I feel like if, oh, she meets her dad, now they're happy family, we'd be leaving out this part where why he wasn't there to begin with, and it would get confusing, and I feel like my reader would not be satisfied and I wouldn't have tied up all my loose ends. So I'm going to add this part. Dad looked, oops, I can't spell today, looked at her for a while. His face grew sad. I wanted better for you. Finally. What? Oops. Oops, I cannot type today. I wanted something better for you than the life of a pirate. That's why I left. But I love being a pirate. I love working on the ship. I love all of it. Okay, so now I added that part. I've tied in the end there of why her dad left. So we finally know, my reader finally knows, and I did my job because I'm making sure I'm tying up all these loose ends and problems here, right? But now I still have this problem of her mom. What happened with the mom, right? And when I tie up all my loose ends and my problems, most of the time my ending will make sense, okay? So where is your mother? Her dad asked. I ran away to find out about you because she wouldn't tell me. You need to tell her you are all right. So Stephanie and her dad went to her mother's house. They filled her in on the accident. And Stephanie apologized. Still, I'm trying to tie in this end. I'm trying to make it so that way it makes sense how her family becomes, well, a family again, right? He apologized. Her mother was so relieved to see her that she wasn't even mad. Stephanie. So weird thoughts, Stephanie, right? Weird thoughts, Stephanie. So now I need to get it to somehow they're a happy family. And again, I can't just say, no, they're a happy family because as my reader, you're probably like, wait, how did they get there, right? So I'm still trying to figure that out. And that's the hard part about writing endings is you really have to wrap everything up. So I'm thinking. So they fill in the mom about the accident. The mom's not mad. She's happy. She's relieved that everybody's okay. So her mom and dad sit her down and tell her everything, all the little details of how they met, why they decided that dad should leave, and everything. Several times they were laughing at the silly things they did. They still liked each other. No, I don't like that. They still they did. And right then and there, they decided that no matter what, they were going to be together. So Stephanie would never have to be without her mom or dad. Next day, they set out to, and that I think is where I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to make sure I got all the little parts, okay? I wrote an ending that tied up my loose ends. Well, I tied up the loose end about how her and her father actually get talking and they get to know each other. And then I tied up that loose end of what happens to their mother, right? And I made sure that I followed my story arc because they became a happy family. And does my ending make sense? Well, right now I'm thinking it does because it tied all those loose ends up. Now there's spelling errors and all this other jazz going on, right? That's not what I'm worried about today. I'm worried about, does my ending make sense and have I filled in all the little holes in my story? And I think I have. So you are going to do the exact same thing, but with your story. You're going to fill in those holes, tie up those loose ends, and you're going to make everything nice and neat. So that way, at the end of your story, your reader is left feeling complete. They're not left hanging like, wait, how did that happen? What? We don't want them to have any questions. We want them to know exactly what happened. And I think I've done that with my ending. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself or Mr. Davis.